Yeah, I really must have a burp in my ass, especially when I have to keep doing videos like this. This kind of pisses me off a little bit. It's a Saturday tonight. It's July 2022. It's 10:17 in the morning. And yes, getting my, not exactly my jollies, but I'm getting a burp my ass concerning about certain things happening that other young groups are going after each other left and right. I had talked about these extreme guys. Not exactly putting them into the description. Maybe I should just do a little editing in that. But it gets to me that when they like to show each other's inequalities, including knowledge base. Somebody mentions about the U.S. Constitution and starts misquoting the damn thing. Not to mention misrepresenting the Constitution, and it kind of pisses me off a little bit. There was an old professor I used to deal with named John Vento over at Antelope Valley College. I liked the guy like crazy. I admired his tenacity. I admired him trying to motivate his classes to think independently, think outside the box, analyze anything and everything that meant something. He wanted people to challenge him. He wanted to challenge the students. He wanted to make sure that they were fired up and ready for whatever kind of they were dealing with. And this was several years ago. I hadn't been back to his class since I completed all of his classes in political science. It was never one of my majors either. But things he was talking about was concerning about perception and context. And you have to put things into context, especially when you're trying to see the whole picture, the bigger picture. What are they not representing? What are they dealing with? What are they showing? What are they trying to explain to you? And if you can't see the whole picture, then you're really missing the clues, aren't you? Every time I keep this kind of camera angle, there's always a reason why. There's always perception and perspective. And unfortunately, these guys keep missing it all the time. They see the actions and they act like reactions. They have to react to the situation because that's what their job is, to freak people out left and right. And it doesn't matter which particular numbnuts is going to be doing this in the first place. They're all crazy enough for both parties. One, they consider themselves young liberals, and yet they're acting like extremists. But they're going after the far right extremists who are screaming and yelling at the left because they think the left is so screwed up. I could use a lot of saltier language on this one. Believe me, I could. So when I keep saying something about a guy named Charlie Kirk, never even heard of the asshole, except going on YouTube, seeing this guy, reading his about thing. I'm like, I still haven't heard about the asshole much. I don't listen to Fox News and I don't listen to any other kind of propaganda, except I know that the three or four of the major medias out there try to simulate each other, but they're also trying to find the truth as well. And if I understood anything concerning about journalism 101 a long time ago in my English class, English of Miss Farmer back in high school, she was trying to teach us a lot of things concerning about it, including about chasing after the truth. No matter what it looks like, no matter how it looks like, you got to chase after the truth. People will be pissed off at you because they don't want to see it. They don't want to know about it. But you got to chase after it and make them look at it. You got to tell them what to hear, what the where, what, why, how, who. If you can fill up all that in there and tell them what exactly happened, you build up your street creds that way. One thing she was tough on, She was tough on our grammatical skills and our reporting skills, and not to mention our journalistic skills. I may have barely gotten a C out of that damn thing, but I admired the living crap out of this woman. She had seen it. She had run the newspapers of the school for years and decades. I miss that old bride. She would have a field day with these young Turks and these Charlie Kirks out there. And the Midas Touch as well. And everybody else. For an editor of a school newspaper, she was that feisty, but she was that well loved and well respected. And this was back in the 80s, so well before these twerps ever been even conceived or thought of. So they have zero clue what old-fashioned journalism is, except if you happen to see Bernstein and Woodward. And those guys, I love. They'd been through it, 60s, 70s, all the way through now. I trust those guys' instincts better than I trust the young twerps these days. When I got one of these idiots trying to misquote the Constitution and try to explain to the people why the United States State Department gave some grants to a few countries regarding human rights and religious freedom, they have to go, oh God, at this point. They're without doing the theatrics at this point over here, it's basically the conservative nut jobs are saying about religious freedom doesn't, America is laughing at religious freedom because we're supporting atheists. We're supporting atheists. And therefore, there's something wrong with us. Something wrong with our Constitution. Constitution wasn't created. It was done by something or somehow. And it's not the real Constitution. Or something of that nature. I don't know. The Constitution looks real to me. I haven't been in Washington ever, so I hadn't seen what the old copies look like. But I imagine they look like pretty old ancient, scripts of paper with ancient writing on it. Writing that we can still understand to this day and age. Writing that tells us who and what we're supposed to be. And all the other notes that we've gotten concerning about the way our thought process we're supposed to go into the Constitution and how to run it, not to mention SCOTUS and executive, legislative branches, giving us implied powers in the states so we can run it ourselves. We had people drafting those things up. We had them certified. And they were accepted for over 46 years. 246 years. And now you got this twerp saying they're not legitimate. It's like listening to every one of those extremist nut jobs out there with the gun and saying, we're going to overturn the Constitution because it's not right. And then you have the Young Turks going after the Kirks because they don't know their Constitution and they're going to scream and yell at them about it. See, I don't get it these days. And maybe I'm getting too damn old for this shit and they'll be using that against me. You know what? Fuck them. That's exactly what I said. Because I also heard the same damn argument back in the 80s. When the younger pups were coming through the lines of the Democrats and the GOP. They're trying to prove their own worth. And they get knocked off because of the old salts knew better. Knew how to play the game. Knew how to communicate and cooperate. But these younger Terps, nope. They don't care. They want the shock and awe. They came from the era when it came down for shock and awe, when you had a A-10 Thunderbolt coming after your ass with a Gatling, with a 50 mil Gatling gun coming out of your ass there, a JU-8. Their ideas getting torn apart by the metaphors of this gun. But now they're trying to tear apart everybody else with their version of it. They learned fast. Is it America's concern, and I'm going to stress this again, is it America's concern regarding how a country celebrates or practices a religion, or do they have to practice a religion? Now, according to the conceptions or misconceptions, that if they're not worshiping God, then they are communists or socialists. They have to worship God. I haven't read it somewhere that they have to. And who the hell are we to tell them to do so? Because we want to be considered godly? Are you kidding? When the lineup comes at the end of Revelation, and we're all going to be looking at each other wondering, are we going to be going up to heaven, and we're so self-assured about it, I'm going to be finding an edge. I'm going to be finding an edge of the wall and just lean against it, and I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching what happens, because the ones who are so self-assured with their own beliefs and their own systems and forcing it on everybody else, that they're so sure that they're going to heaven that they're going to the other side. And I'm not going to laugh about it. I'm going to be shaking my head in disgust. Because then it's like, you guys are way too late for I told you so, because we've been telling you, you didn't listen, and now you're stuck with it. But you're going to argue. You're going to argue at the end of the time. And if I've got one of those angels saying, you, on that line, with the rest of the non-believers, I'm like, if that's what God wants, that's what God wants. I know I believe. I didn't have a choice. But the thing of it is, I don't have to force it down people's throat all the damn time. Not my religious beliefs, and certainly not my political beliefs. Unless, of course, I got a real burr up my ass concerning about the Constitution and about our rights and freedoms. Then I've got a problem concerning about that. I got a problem concerning about the conservatives and the lefters as well. And I may have been concerned about a center-wing lefter here. But that's me. Because I want to see the balance. I want to see what both sides has to bring to the party. What do we got to work with? If we had a life or death situation, I mean an extreme life or death situation for our planet at this point over here, would we still be going to do the, well, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault? Or we're going to be bringing our asses together and trying to find out how many tools we can bring to the party to try to save our ass, if any. Of course, if the other party doesn't bring them, say, it's the other side's fault because they didn't bring enough for us. Man, what are you doing to us right now? You're making a stupid thing here. Oh, yeah. So if we happen to get into a life or death situation over here, based on that kind of a fallacy of an argument at this point over here, or maybe it'll be a reality check. Either way, we'll be telling them, we have got to get our shit together, or otherwise we're dead. That's That's bottom line. If you can't follow through, get out. Die. We don't need you. If you're willing to help, then put your ideas to the table and start blaming everybody and start thinking. If you're actually entitled to do so, or if you actually have any brains in there at all to do so. Don't start throwing your damn PhDs or whatever you think you got there. We want solutions. We need ideas. We need things that work. We don't want, let's go back. Fuck that shit. We're going forward. We got to save our ass. That's how it works. And it may be considered an anathema to you regarding socialism or communism. You just don't get the damn principles in the first place. And you just don't understand. In order to have that kind of power structure going on, you need to have an elite society backed up by the military who got brainwashed and drank all the damn Kool-Aid. So now they're therefore super followers and ready to do the bidding, the military coup. And therefore the small group, takes out the Constitution and democracy altogether and installs a leader. Hello, communism. Hello, socialism. Now we've got autocracies. Look it up. That's how it happens, by coups. Bloody or bloodless, doesn't matter. We damn near had one January 6th. And that's why we're still having the committees and the hearings and people getting fried left and right. As for the pettiness and bickerness concerning about Karens, oh my God, don't get me started about the Karens. You guys are so full of shit, you don't even know what the hell you're doing half the time. You're so full of shit, you're so pissed off at people left and right that you want to vent out your anger, your frustration, your mentality, your mental illness on everybody else. And continue to do it because it makes you feel sadistically fine. A sadomasochist at work. I'm going to tell you because my ego tells me so. And I need to satisfy it more than you. So you better listen to me because I'm going to give your life a living hell at this point. And since we can't ignore people like that, unfortunately, we're forced to either do violence on them at that point, or get a mob around them and say, you want your straitjacket now or later? And of course, they won't take too kindly about it. They'll go to the cops and say, they're threatening me. Everyone's got a camera watching you do this shit to me. Doesn't work that way. You see, all these damn cameras are getting every angle, and once the courts get all the angles, guess who they go after? The instigator. You don't even think about it, you don't even realize it. And yet we get a lark on the damn thing because we're watching these things on videotape. And I admit, I'd watched and seen these damn things, and they give me an upset stomach. That's why I drink milk all the time. Because I'm just getting sick and tired of this shit myself. There had better be enough reason for me to have a royal conniption fit over someone because I may be having a bad day and I'm going to need a conniption fit to start off and go out with people and become a Karen. No, thank you. You have to think about the damn situation you're in. And what can you do and what cannot you do? Try using that one. Meanwhile, as I'm through venting this damn crap out, I'll be addressing this over to, somehow, the Turks and the Kirks and the Meidases out there. All swimming around trying to pick each other apart. And the only thing I can say is, when do you guys want your straitjackets and what's your sizes? I'll see if I can go bankrupt and get you some. Just so we can shut you up. But of course you're trying to tell us what the world's coming to an end. Of course, you probably want your titles to be changed to Chicken Little. The sky's falling. The sky's a collection of nothing but gases at this point over here. Some of the stuff we breathe, the rest of the stuff we fart or expel somehow. The sky's not falling. Unless, of course, we're going to get a fiery meteor somewhere that'll scare the living crap out of people. But I'm still not going to say the sky's falling. If the Earth somehow gets yanked out of orbit and starts hurtling towards the sun, maybe I'll say it. And I'll say, we're going to get cooked now, boys and girls. How you want yourself? With or without barbecue sauce or with dry rub? Because once we hit those plasma areas, poof. Beyond charred meat. And if we happen to get pulled out into deep space, well, we're popsicles now, boys and girls. And no, it's not the Democrats' fault at this point. Shit happens. Deal with it. But nobody wants to listen to dear old me because what the fuck do I know? What the hell do I know? Only I've been listening to a hell of a lot of whining and bitching and griping about from bitches and gripes and assholes and stuff. Go on your own shows and say, imagine this and look at this and oh my God, she's freaking out. And then the other guys get, oh boy, and this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen, because now I gotta demonstrate what the other side's doing, so now I gotta do this. I'm like, oh my God. And this is what you guys call journalism here? Don't tell me. No, this isn't journalism. If my old high school teacher ever came out from the grave as a corpse, she'd probably hunt your ass. I wouldn't mind her hunting my ass right now. I'd appreciate the company. Have a good one.